Welcome back from the final break, and thank you for joining us for the TSLA business meeting. Thanks to Garrett Sproles for organizing a great speakers program. Thanks again to the speakers for doing a wonderful job. I don't know about y'all, but after watching Ron's thing, I don't know if I should be seriously impressed with what they're doing or if I've watched, Terminator and The Matrix too many times and just very paranoid. But anyways, it was a fantastic presentation, so thank you guys for that. I'm Matt Light. I'm the immediate past president of TSLA, and I'll be conducting today's business meeting on behalf of Jennifer Meyer. Jennifer Meyer is the president of TSLA, was involved in a serious car accident on May 18th, where she severely injured her ankle. She's had to have several surgeries over the past few months. She is anticipated to make a full recovery, but it's a long process ahead of her. She's remained positive throughout this process and has continued to serve TSLA to the best of her abilities. She appreciates all the kind and thoughtful responses she has received. Each and every act of kindness has lifted her spirits and kept her motivated during her recovery. She's very disappointed that she was unable to attend today. However, she did send us a note, so I'm going to go ahead and read that for y'all at this time. 2020 has been a very difficult year for so many. Many lives have been affected by human loss, social disruption, economic impact, and emotional distress. I hope through this year and its many stresses, you have been able to find some peace. Please continue to spread kindness during this time and know that every small act of kindness we do each day may have a huge impact on someone's life. So thank you for that, Jennifer. I will now call the business meeting to order at 11:57 a.m. As many of you would guess, this is the first time we've done a virtual business meeting. And as Garrett mentioned earlier, we're going to do things a little different, but we will still have the popular door prizes. Instead of watching us draw it out of a bucket and people run around the room and all that kind of good stuff, there'll just be a poll question at the end. And you will answer that to get your name entered into the drawing, which Gene will do after this meeting has concluded. I'd like everybody to please reference the antitrust statement that was emailed out ahead of time. It's also available on the presentation side on the left side of your screen, presentation tab, if you haven't seen it. The minutes and the financials were also emailed out to the membership in a vote prior to this meeting. They were approved. They are also available in the presentation tab if you would like to look those over. If you have any new business that you would like added to the business meeting today, please email Jean within the next 10 minutes and she'll get it added to the end. Her email address is jptsla@tsla.org. I will now present the Leadership Committee report. On your screen is the slate of TSLA officers and directors for the 2020-2021 fiscal year. This slate was emailed out in advance of this meeting. We asked for nominations from the floor and we did not receive any. Therefore, the slate will stand as presented. We will now vote on that slate. We asked each voting member firm to designate one person to vote. We are now asking that person vote via email, yes or no, to Jean. An email to Jean, jptsla@tsla.org. Voting will be open for the next 10 minutes, so please get that squared away. Next up, we have the TSLA PAC. Today, we've raised $30,200 of a goal of $35,000. So we're almost there, as you can see from this glorious picture. I have made it to a speedboat, which is great because I started out in like a rowboat, so I'll take it. We do have a goal of a yacht at $35,000. We've done a great job raising all things considered this year, but we appreciate your continued support. Next slide. All right, many thanks to those who have already given this year. We had 13 members who gave $1,000 or more to the PAC this year. So thank you for your continuing support and investment in TSLA. Anyone who does give $1,000 or more has their choice of a Texas flag or a Texas-shaped clock as kind of a thank you gift. And I'd also like to give a shout out to our advertising committee, our regulatory committee, and our TSLA board for hitting 100% in this year's PAC committee challenge, which you usually get a nice piece of chocolate or something, but that's what you get this year. Our legislative successes rely on our members to engage and provide political support to those who help our industry. We are lucky. We have a lot of friends at the legislature. That group continues to grow, thanks in large part to the PAC and to Keith and Lisa's efforts. Please note it's anticipated, as Keith said, to be the 2021 legislative is going to be busy from an insurance perspective. There's pandemic is obviously going to have some insurance related issues. You have the trucking thing that will hopefully come up. There's likely to be a special session in the summer. We've achieved a lot of successes in the last few sessions, and a lot of that is due to the PAC support. Those of you that have given $500 or more to the PAC by November 13th will be invited to a virtual happy hour with our special guest, the Honorable Eddie Lucio III. Representative Lucio is the chairman of the House Insurance Committee, so that's very relevant to us. So that'll be really interesting. The virtual happy hour will be held on November 17th at 4 p.m. And Gene will reach those of you who have qualified to give you the instructions on how to join that prior to. The PAC donation link is available on the TSLA website. It's an easy two-step process, take you a couple minutes. I highly recommend that as soon as we're done here, you just go take care of it. We would appreciate it if you've already given this year. Thank you. And we are excited about how that's gone. The 2021 mid-year meeting, we are planning to have this in person, July 18th to the 21st at the Four Seasons Resort in Vail, Colorado. This is always a fan favorite of TSLA. It's great reviews, wonderful venue. We are going to have it in person. That's the plan. Hopefully with the vaccine news that was announced yesterday, that will be able to happen. So we're looking forward to it. You can make your room reservations right after the meeting. They will be available. And we look forward to seeing you all there. Next slide. I'd now like to invite Robert to present the Regulatory Committee report.
Thanks, Matt. Good morning, everyone. But before I begin, I do feel compelled to defend the much maligned reputation of Zoom. There are some positives of presenting via Zoom. For one, I don't have to lower the microphone. Also, number two, for the first time, I'm able to see over the podium. And finally, and most importantly, I'm not wearing pants. Sorry about that. I guess Gene was right for the need about a laugh track. So I'll keep that in mind next time. Just like everything else in life, this has been an extraordinary year for the Regulatory Committee. However, it has been a successful one. For those of you that do not know, the Regulatory Committee is responsible for facilitating TSLA's relationship with the state regulatory agencies, specifically the Texas Department of Insurance and the Comptroller's Office. This is achieved through regular scheduled meetings and other dialogue for issues that arise between meetings. We normally meet in person at the TDI building. However, that was obviously not possible this year, and we were only able to meet physically once this year, and that was at committee day in February. I am happy to report that we did continue with the regular meetings and met in May and August and have our final meeting of the year next Monday. As you can imagine, the coronavirus dominated our discussions. TDI was interested in our perspective with regard to coverages, exclusions, new products, and how the overall market has changed since the onset of the pandemic. While the final impact and regulatory response of this unprecedented event will not be known for some time, we do appreciate TDI's genuine interest in the perspective of TSLA members. I want to thank the co-chairs Stephen Gunn and Frank Giratano, board liaisons Amisha Hine and Tiffany Way, and each committee member for their time and patience during this unique year. I also want to thank Keith Strama, Lisa Garcia, and of course, Gene Patterson. I'd like to extend my gratitude to TDI for their support and great attendance in our meetings. As Keith mentioned earlier, it was a benefit having these over Zoom because we had some people high up in the organization at TDI to attend our meetings this year, and I feel that that was a benefit to TSLA and will help us in the future. TDI was more than willing to work with us and adapt to this new environment. Specifically, I'd like to thank Doug Slate, Jamie Walker, Libby Elliott, and Reagan Elmer. Libby for not only helping to facilitate every meeting, but also for her and Jamie's great presentation this morning. Next year will be critical with the legislature in session and continuation of the pandemic. So it's a great benefit to TSLA that we have built such strong relationships with TDI. And now Ryan Handler will present the legislative committee report.
Thank you, Robert. I'm Ryan Handler with with AmWinds and the current chair of the TSLA Legislative Committee. With the state legislature not in session in 2020, the primary charges for the Legislative Committee essentially default to standing ready to help Keith Strama and Gene Patterson with industry feedback and any potential legislative issues that come to TSLA's attention. As you might expect, the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic took the forefront of the Legislative Committee's agenda this year. In March, myself and Keith Strama had a conference call with several key officers at TDI to discuss the relevant insurance issues. The TDI was trying to understand if business shut down by quarantine would have coverage for business income. We established that most policies in both the admitted and non-admitted markets would not provide business income coverage due to either specific bacteria or microorganism exclusions or the direct physical damage trigger for coverage. We also advised TDI that any insurance products that were originally designed and marketed to cover business income during a pandemic were almost entirely discontinued a few years back due to lack of interest from insurance buyers. The Legislative Committee had a mid-year conference call on June the 3rd to discuss many of the pandemic-related insurance concerns, particularly general liability and workers' compensation exposures for reopening businesses. There was a lot of conjecture, but we ultimately concluded that TSLA could only wait and see how reopening plays out and or what litigation might emerge. On August the 19th, TSLA hosted a legislative webinar featuring speakers Keith Strama and Greg Brandon from SLTX. The event went very well and was attended by 46 TSLA members. Absent legislation to monitor, Legislative Committee turned our attention to tracking the state and local elections. While primaries were held in March, runoff elections were postponed until July due to the pandemic. Ultimately, most incumbents won their re-elections, and there were no changes in the partisan makeup of the state Senate or House of Representatives. Additionally, the Legislative Committee's PAC participation this year was 80%, marked improvement from last year, but still some room to go there. I'd like to thank my co-chairs, Wes Bauer of AmWinds and Michael Clay of RT Specialty, as well as the rest of my committee for their contributions throughout the year. And a big thank you to Keith Strama and Gene Patterson for their tireless efforts, directing the committee and providing valuable support all year long. And now I'd like to turn it back over to Matt. Thanks.
Thank you, Robert and Ryan, for your reports. Appreciate that. We weren't able to do all the committee reports this year. Just logistically, it was a little bit much on the Zoom call, but we did think it was important you got those. We want to thank all of our committee members. This year, they still did a lot of work, even though it was an abnormal year. So thanks to the committee members and the committee chairs this year. I'd now like to introduce and recognize the following TSLA outgoing directors: Lynn Bordelon with Worldwide Facilities, Jeff Fields with Markel, Rose Perez with USG, and Tiffany Way with RT Specialty. Each outgoing director was shipped their TSLA director plaque, and I would like to thank them for their service and dedication to the TSLA board. I'm now honored to present a couple of awards on behalf of Jennifer Meyer, President this year. First is the Don King Award. The Don King Committee Member of the Year Award is awarded to a committee member who is nominated by their committee chair. And I'm pleased to announce that Stephen Gunn with Hallmark Financial Services has received this award for his efforts on the regulatory committee, and Morgan Witt with Tower Stone has received the award for her efforts on the membership recruiting committee. And you can see there they were emailed their awards as well. The next award is the Joe House Award. This award was named after Joe House, who was the president from 1977 to 78, and was a big believer in supporting TSLA. Jennifer has selected Robert McEwen with the Parks Group as the winner of the 2020 Joe House President's Award. Thank you, Robert, for all your hard work as the chair of the TSLA Regulatory Committee. I'd like to remind everyone, if you're interested, the 2021 committee volunteer form is currently available on the TSLA website. So please get that filled out and shoot it over to Jean if we can talk you into participating on a committee. It's at this time that Jennifer would normally be giving her President's Year in Review speech. She's very disappointed that she's unable to present this to you in person this year. However, it will be emailed out to all the members after today's meeting. I will now conclude with the Leadership Committee report. I'm pleased to announce that the slate of 2021 officers and directors passed via the email vote conducted with a quorum present. At this time, we're going to conduct the installation. Please note we will not be able to bring up all these people on screen as they take the oath, but we're going to go ahead and do it anyways. So I'm now going to read the oath. Will the newly elected officers and directors please raise their right hand? Having been elected to this office of the Texas Surplus Lines Association, do you promise and swear to fulfill the duties assigned to you, to uphold the character and bylaws of this association, and to the best of your abilities to defend, protect, and promote the surplus lines segment of the insurance industry throughout the state of Texas or anywhere else, so help you God? If so, please say I do. I'm going to assume they said yes. Congratulations to our new TSLA officers and directors. And I'd now like to introduce Amisha Hine, the new president.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Matt, for installing our TSLA directors and officers. First, I would like to thank our outgoing president, Jennifer Meyer, for all of her hard work and dedication during a particularly challenging year. We appreciate everything she's done for us, and we'd like to present her with the TSLA presidential plaque. Thank you, Jennifer. Next slide, please. As your newly elected president, I would like to share with you a little bit about my history. But first, I must say what an honor it is for me to be in this position. Although this isn't exactly how I imagined I would be giving my incoming president's speech, I'll steal a line from our friends at WSIA because it applies to us as well. This was our absolute best plan B, and we're thrilled you could join us. It's no surprise to me during these tumultuous times that our industry is responding, as it always seems to, with strength and financial security. And our association is strong and secure as well, thanks in part to that long list of past presidents and their hard work and dedication year after year that has gotten this association to where we are today. And when I think about the legacy of this association and all of its successes, I'm proud to be a member. I'm passionate about surplus lines, and my passion stems from my history. I was 8 years old when my mentor and father, Gil Hine, started our family-owned MGA, McClelland & Hine, with his mentor, Jack McClelland. It was an amazing atmosphere to grow up in. I remember corporate picnics at Jack's ranch and company family Christmas parties at various houses and working weekends where my sister and I would completely pilfer the supply cabinet. I grew up around an organization of professional men and women with high work ethic, dedicated to building something of great value together, and it left a lasting impression on me. I started my career at McClelland & Hine at age 19. Having just completed 2 years of undergrad, I took a gap semester and I worked. I was an accounting clerk and I manually badged and mailed policies to the stamping office. Thank goodness for automation. It wasn't a glamorous job, but I was reminded of all those kind and intelligent people that I grew up around, and I realized if I worked hard and I learned, I could join their team. So I stayed. I finished my college degree while I worked, and I worked in various positions in almost every department of MHI. And as I worked and learned and developed professionally, it became apparent to me that in order to be successful, I would need to join associations such as TSLA. I didn't always know what TSLA was. I still think of midyear, or I remember thinking of midyear as a working family vacation. And I still laugh when I remember one of my first annuals. It was Gil's incoming president year. And I remember walking into the cocktail party at the Four Seasons with him, and I looked around the room and I didn't know who 95% of the people were. And then I saw a few friendly faces, our carrier partners. And I looked over at Gil and I said, who are all these people having drinks with our carrier partners? And he said, our competitors mostly. My jaw hit the floor and I said, what? Why are we at a party where our carriers are drinking with our competitors? At the time, I was a long haul trucking underwriter, and the very last thing that I wanted was a competitor to have a commercial auto market of mine if they didn't already. And Gil laughed at me and he said, Amisha, there are friendly competitors. I shook my head and I said, there is absolutely nothing friendly about writing a long haul trucking account away from any one of these people. He laughed again and he said, yes, Amisha, we compete hard during the day to write the accounts, but we all come together at TSLA to promote and protect the industry we compete in. And a light bulb went off in my head and I thought to myself, you mean at TSLA, I can be on the same team as RSI and Parks Group and Taga and Plus and Light and Myron Steves and Quirk. And I know I'm forgetting some of you and I apologize, but you know who you are. You're incredibly hard to compete against. And also all the national brokers. To me, it was like the Avengers of surplus lines and I wanted on that team. So I started asking a bunch of questions. Who do we promote the industry to? Why does it need protecting and from who? Gil sort of handed me off to Jean with a good luck smile, and Jean introduced me to all the people that would answer all my questions, and she also guided me through my TSLA career. And I decided to do at TSLA what I had done at MHI, which is join as many committees as possible, work hard, learn, and hopefully bring value to others. So I started on the host committee. I spent some time on the under 40 committee. I rode Mary Beth's coattails chairing the website committee during a website rebuild. That was an amazing year. I learned so much from her. I spent a few years on membership recruiting. God bless that committee. That's hard work. I spent a year on advertising committee, and eventually I found my home on the legislative committee where I volunteered for a couple of years, then co-chaired and chaired. It was during this time at TSLA where I learned the value of a strong surplus lines association and its purpose, and also the true meaning of friendly competitor. When I think about those leaders who I looked up to and some of my biggest mentors, they're my greatest competitors. Paul Rainey, Penny Restrepo, Bill Fink, Sean Fabers, Joy Keller, Rosemary Marshall, Robert Wright, Bart Koch, Lana Parks, the list goes on and on. With their mentorship and guidance, and with the mentorship and guidance of both Jean and Greg Hoosier, I learned so much. And it built my confidence, and it was a game changer in my career. I was able to take on leadership roles that I might not otherwise have taken, and I will forever be grateful to TSLA. I've come a long way from thoughts of working family vacation to a professional, dedicated member of this association. And I understand that's critically important to the success of TSLA, that we have robust membership and that we have engaged and active leaders willing to volunteer their talent, their time, and their expertise. Because the work we do here is so, so important, from the supporting of our next generation of surplus lines leaders with our under 40 group, to the education and advocacy on surplus lines to anyone willing to listen. We believe in high compliance rates and best practices, and we believe in good faith efforts, and we believe in good governance and strong relationships with regulators and other industry associations and offices. We participate in the legislative process, and we have strong relationships with legislators, and we are committed to a strong PAC. We believe in the promotion and the preservation of the surplus lines industry, and we believe in the promotion and the preservation of the wholesale distribution model. And as I said before, I'm passionate about all of it. And I hope my passion is contagious and you will all join me this year. And with that said, I probably should thank a few people. To my father and mentor, Gil Hine, thank you for all your guidance and mentorship through my surplus lines career. And thank you for all you're gonna do this year so that I can focus on TSLA. And to my husband, my biggest supporter, I can't even imagine taking on roles like this without you. And to my kids, Connor, Sydney, Eric, and Sawyer, I love you. And to my MHI family, whom I adore, thank you for all your support. And to my new worldwide family, thank you for giving me more teams to join and more questions to ask. And thank you for supporting my commitment to this association. And to Jean, Thank you for guiding me through my TSLA career and for all of your support and for what you do for all of our members. I'm not real sure how you do it, but I'm so grateful that you do. And with that, I'm ready to get started. Thank you. Let's see, next slide. Sorry, bear with me. It's new business and Jean has advised that we don't have any, so I can skip ahead to announcements. But before I do that, I would like to say, since tomorrow is Veterans Day, we would like to take this opportunity to thank all of our TSLA members who are veterans. Thank you for your service to our country. Also, just a reminder, it is not too late to donate money to the TSLA Care Package event for soldiers to help us defray shipping costs. Please contact Jean if you would like the link to donate. And now we have come to our favorite door prizes. As Matt said, it's going to be different since we're virtual. Shortly, you will see a poll question pop up on your screen. Please answer this poll question in order to be entered into the drawing. Everyone who answers will be eligible, and Jean will conduct a random drawing and notify the winners. Good luck. Few quick announcements. Be on the lookout for a news flash from TSLA with the annual meeting evaluation form. As this is our first virtual, we would really appreciate any feedback and suggestions you might have. Next slide, please. We'd like to thank everyone for attending today. I can only imagine the excessive amount of time you are on Zoom or in front of your computer, so we appreciate you spending a few hours with us. We certainly hope we will be able to meet live and in person next year, but the safety and health of our membership will always come first when making these decisions. If we are live in person, we hope you will join us July for the 2021 midyear and November for the 2021 annual. And finally, my thanks to Garrett Sprouse, 2020 conference year, for putting together an excellent speakers program, and to all of our generous sponsors who continue to support TSLA, especially this year. We are so very grateful. And now I'm incredibly happy to say I can adjourn the meeting. It's 12:22. Thank you, everyone.